Everything this spring has come up so cloddy. I don't know if it has something to do with this winter or what. I just haven't really been satisfied with our seed bed anywhere. Regardless of that, we are quite literally on the short rows of soybean planting season. We've got a couple fields left, and by default, they're also our most challenging field. This one right here is about 125 acres of some very dark, mucky, peatone soil. Not like some of the other rich, productive farms we have. It has very high yield potential. However, it is such a tight soil, it acts more like a clay than it does maybe like a silty clay loam. Not necessarily my favorite farm to farm, but you get the right rains and you miss the right rains, it can be one of your best. The real challenge with this farm, unlike almost every other farm we have, this is unique in the fact that if we work it and then it rains on top, it does not dry quicker, it actually dries slower. We do have some challenges. That though is a sight for sore eyes. These are the Asgrow 35XF1s, the first field of beans we planted probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we've got a phenomenal stand for the most part. One of the interesting things about evaluating a stand of crops is when you look with the row, it always looks phenomenal, at least as long as it's not terrible out there. However, when you turn your eyesight to the right, you may start to see some things that aren't quite as appealing, like that area in there, or that area in there. The question is, what is going on in this area that makes these beans seem so much thinner than maybe those beans out there? Well, there's really 2 things going on here. One, this is a very wet spot of the field. Conditions when I planted it weren't all that great, so my trenches weren't really pristine, being closed behind me. Far, far from ideal. So we are going to have some germination issues. Now that does not mean that the beans won't come up. However, they probably will be delayed. Those rainfalls we got on ground, especially like this, is really a lifesaver because these beans should be okay. Secondly, we are in a very dark spot of the field. Dark soil warms up faster than other soil on one condition, and that condition is that it's drier. If it's not drier, it's not going to warm up quicker. You see, we've got some lighter soil coming up there on that light hill, which most of you would say that's not even a hill. It isn't a hill. It's just a little bit of a grade change. That's up quicker because it's not wet or damp. Drier soil is going to aerate better and warm up quicker with the sun, especially as we have 90-degree weather. I'm not concerned about this though, because as I come out here and evaluate my stand, yeah, it doesn't look perfect, but there are a lot of beans through here popping their way out of the ground. In all reality, you only need about 100,000, maybe 90,000 plants per acre to develop a full canopy, maximize your photosynthetic area, reduce the amount of weeds fighting against you because they're starved of sunlight, and of course, maximize your yield potential. A spot like this in the field is a perfect example of why those rains helped us so much after planting in more marginal conditions. We don't have that right now to save us. So waiting on some of these wetter farms to plant, I really learned that life is much less stressful if you don't just sit there and watch it dry. You got to give it a few minutes, maybe a few hours. Let that soil get into a condition where your seed bed is good enough that you don't have to rely on a rain to save your butt. Here is another absolutely fantastic stand of corn. I really cannot complain about this at all, although we played this one perfectly. We've got that 216-day channel bio corn out here, nearly perfect spacing. That exact emerge planter is certainly worth its money, and we're off to a good start. The one thing I will mention is that this field is getting a little bit weedy, and it will get weedier because we can't spray the Acuron product due to those water wells. Acuron is a restricted use pesticide. It has atrazine. Atrazine cannot be applied within so many yards of a water source like that. As opposed to just ringing it around, we just completely change our management plan here. We're going to use a post-emergence product specifically for spraying corn that's out of the ground, something that packs a punch, probably Acuron GT, which is a Halix GT replacement. It's basically Acuron, bicyclopyrone, Dole, Callisto, and Roundup. No atrazine. So they switch out the Roundup and the atrazine, because when you're coming into post-spray corn, you do want Roundup to get any grasses that were not controlled. We're gonna go ahead and get the seed tender. Go get some Pioneer beans. This very well may be the last day I have put the seed tender up for this season, depending on how the other farms pan out. Chris is going up to the Pioneer dealers to get some seed in the seed tender. We're going to take the planter to the field and plant a round or two. The beans that we are planting today are the same beans we planted 2 days ago and ended with. It's that 3-2 Pioneer bean. It's going on another dark field that Jeff was working earlier this morning. I'm not really looking forward to being a lowly soybean planter operator after being spoiled by the ExactEmerge planter. Headed to the field. All of this emerged corn is a beautiful sight. Yesterday I was chasing him with the corn planter. Today I'm chasing him with the soybean planter, which is probably much less intimidating. We're here. I found that I can start unfolding the wings and the back wing rows will come down at the same time and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Backs are on. Prime the units and we're ready to go. Once the boss, Marty, also known as my dad, is done with his jobs for the year, he usually keeps a keen eye on me. I guess I'm a troublemaker. The down pressure hasn't caught up all the way yet.
How about that? That's not too bad, is it?
No. I mean, it's in there pretty good. We're gonna plant around and then quit, let the ground dry a little bit more and let Jeff finish. Then we're gonna load this full of beans and then I can put the inrows on the field and run hard. We're gonna leave this parked here ready to fill while we wait on Chris with the seed and for Jeff to finish cultivating the field. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. That's good. Load it up. Ready to plant. Much like our corn hybrid placement, we also pay very close attention to our soybean maturities and where we place them. Other than putting the right variety on the soil type and topography, we actually pay pretty close attention to how wet the farm is. Farms that are prone to extreme ponding, like this one where we just installed the second 24-inch tile just a few months ago, we like to plant earlier season varieties that are ready to harvest sooner, because we don't want to risk the chance of those beans sitting out in the field and getting a flood and causing a massive hit in soybean quality from them being underwater. Hey, there's our new tile. They're still settling a little bit there. Close to 100 acres in the bag. We do need to load. I wonder if I can back into that ditch. It may also be a little bit on the wet side. It never hurts to try, right? Whoa! That's the last of the Pioneer 3-2 beans and should be enough to finish this field. Weather today is really nice, not near as humid as it was yesterday, a tick cooler, and the sun is putting a lot more light down versus yesterday. It was kind of hazy. I can feel on my skin getting a suntan, which doesn't take much. We've got past the big hurdle. Now we got one field that's a little smaller and then another field that's even smaller than that, and we're going to be done with soybeans. Although I'm willing to bet that there will be some replanting. We'll cross that bridge when it comes. Pretty cramped house here. Sometimes it's easier just to use home field advantage. The next field we're going to is just half a mile to the southwest, so we're going to top it off again. This next field we're about to go to is going to be a planter clean out special, is what I'd like to call it. We have probably 15 leftover units from different fields, all enlist beans and shorter than the bulk of what we were aiming to plant out here, and the fact that we have a 3-1, some 3-5s, and a few 3-7s. The main target for this field was a 3-5 Pioneer bean. Dad and I didn't think, though, that we should order excess beans, save on those extra 15 units, put them in here, blend them in, plant it, and just recognize when we go to harvest it that there's an interesting mix of beans out there. It's just going to be a 47-acre field, so it's not really a big deal. As much as it may surprise you, we're not always perfect on our soybean unit numbers. Sometimes we're too heavy, sometimes we're too light. It seems to me that that early planted corn is always the best looking corn. As this warm and dry spell continues, it just gets dustier and dustier every day. I guess that's a good thing for ground condition, but you really hate seeing a big dust coming off of things, losing all that soil. I've got to commend the neighbors. They make their sketchy bridges less sketchy than I make our sketchy bridges, which is a good thing. It's nice only partially feeling like you're going to flip the planter as opposed to being extremely anxious about it. One planter dump is all that stands between us and the last field right now. We got the planter dumped. We had more than an excessive amount of beans in there. I also noticed that that outer section of blower line has cracked open. We replaced the one right out of the blower last season. We replaced the long one from the tee to that tank earlier in the season, and I guess it would make sense that that one was due to break. They must only have a certain shelf life before they go bad. Hopefully we'll be parked in there in another 2 hours or so. It's time for our last fill up. Yeah, keep going. Keep going. Whoa. Field we go. As farmers, we're always in a hurry, but sometimes life's just a little bit easier if you give someone the right of way. Oh, would you look at where our detour took us? Right by the field that we planted first thing this morning. We're just east of Lerna now. That's one of the fields we planted about a week ago. Those beans ought to be popping through, unless they were just packed down to a pulp from hard rain. Hopefully that's not the case. We made the executive decision to abandon this field last time we were over in this area. It was too wet, too cloudy, and look at it now. So I went from a toad to a prince, because that's going to be a nice seed bed. We're blessed with a beautiful sunset to finish bean planting. It's a nice addition to this dust. About an inch in the soil. I may put them a tad bit deeper actually. We got some dry clods on top. I'm not really concerned with the seed soil contact, however I am concerned with the amount of moisture in the trench. I think I'll just run the down pressure up another 60 pounds, but I'll push those units hard against the soil. Shouldn't be an issue. That temporary tape job that was installed while we were filling with seed did not hold up well. Not surprising. Same thing as when it occurred last time. As long as we're not lacking on seed pod section at each row unit. We're just gonna keep on pushing on, ride this thing through the sunset, finish planting beans. Won't take much. Not a whole lot left out here. This is it. The last pass of the first pass of plant 2021. Wheels, please do not fall off the planter now. Here it is. We did it. That right there, folks, was the last pass of this planting season. Woo! Wow. Already out here eating my beans. I can guarantee you that next time I'm folding and unfolding the planter out in the field, I'm not going to be quite as excited as I am right now. Where'd I find the mud at? A lot of mud. Huh. Let's ride this ship in home. I'm not trying to complain, but this is bad luck. I may be bad luck for people. It's the second intersection today that I've had an issue with. We got multiple police cars, the ambulance just showed up. Had to have just happened. Hopefully they're alright. Okay. I'm not sure what happened, but we're leaving. There's not a single sign of any foul play, no wrecks, not even a car left behind to someone who had a medical emergency. For those of you who saved the second bottle of champagne from yesterday's corn planting finishing celebration, now it's time to pop it for the soybean planting. That being said, I feel like my spirits have kind of been dampened hearing about the motorcycle accident there on Route 45 and 250 North. That's right south of Lakeland College. We're on 250 North here. This road, if you take it east, about 5 miles, you hit Lakeland College. And I was headed straight east to go to learn how to plant that field. I'm not going to speculate too much. That intersection there has had a lot of major accidents. This time of year, motorcycles, you got to be extremely careful, folks. And I'm not perfect either. You got to look a third or a fourth time to make sure there's no one coming, because there's no room for error. If you pull out in front of a motorcycle, unless they can miss you, I mean, it's probably not going to end well. And everyone does make mistakes, so I'm not saying that if someone does pull out in front of someone that's malicious, just got to pay a lot of attention and hopefully reduce the risk of anything like that happening. If you can't tell, this last push of planting season has worn me out. That and editing videos way past my bedtime. Anywho, I think that's more than enough farming for one video. I'll keep you guys updated as the growing season progresses, and you can always look forward to more and more videos. That's most certainly going to be it for me. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below if you have any questions. You know I love to talk about farming. Have a great day, everyone. Peace!